Morning, everyone. This is the Monday, May 15th meeting of the Development and Government Relations Committee of the Holyoke City Council. Today it's 6:30 p.m. I'll call this meeting to order, and Councilor Jenny Rivera is not able to make it today, so we have our other members here. We are recording this meeting. And the meeting is also being streamed on our public access station and via Zoom and on the live stream on the city's website. This evening in council chambers, we are joined by members, Councilor McGivern, Councilor Bacon, Councilor Bartley, myself, Tessa Murphy-Ramboletti, and we don't have a long agenda tonight. I think we had hoped to have some other things on the agenda, but we appreciate our friends from the Blue Sox being here to just give us an update, especially as we head into the 2023 season. So with that,
I'll make a motion to take number 1 off the table, please.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. So item number 1 is filed by Councilors Bartley and Councilor TALLMAN, that the City Council invite the new owner of the Valley Blue Sox, Matthew Drury, and his executive team to a DGR meeting prior to the 2023 season to discuss the team, Mackenzie Stadium, and increasing attendance and use of the field for Holyoke students. So we are joined this evening by Matthew, and we're very excited to just have a conversation with you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. So we'll allow you to, we have a presentation here, and then we'll just have our counselors and those in attendance. Let me make sure I'm not missing anyone on Zoom, sorry. Councilor Maldonado Velez is also on the Zoom, and we are joined by the Parks and Recreation Director, Tom Reynolds, so thank you for being here. But with that, I'll hand it over to you, and we'll just hear what's going on.
Great. Well, it's great to meet everyone. I appreciate everyone joining on Zoom, counselors.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Direct. Yeah, that's the reason why it says speak into the mic, right? But thank you all for having some time. It's great to put some faces to names and be a part of here. And as was briefly mentioned, I acquired the Blue Sox in May of last year, but last year was kind of a year where we wanted to see how everything ran and went through it. And this year is a kind of a big year for us as we've decided to put our own spin on things. We have a lot of changes. We've been working well with the city, and I appreciate Tom being on and his team and all the work they've helped provide us for the past year and moving into this season. But just wanted to give you all a kind of a vision of what we're looking at this year, some of the new exciting stuff that we think, and then talk about kind of our vision for the future, some of the challenges that we're facing right now. And please, this is meant to be an open discussion, so if any questions come up, please either raise your hand digitally or just shout them out. If you're right here in front of me, happy to go through and pause at any time. With that, we'll get started. So just very briefly about the Blue Sox, if you've never heard of us before, and I think most of you have, being obviously Holyoke, we've been entrenched in the community for, this is almost 10 years now. So the NECBL, it's the New England Collegiate Baseball League. We are a franchise, one of 12 teams now in the league. We are ranked the number 2 summer collegiate league in the country. So behind that, or we're only behind the Cape Cod League, which is one that's, I mean, obviously very well known within baseball circles as well as the country. But the NECBL has done a great job of placing our players right behind that. About 30% of the league gets drafted every year. We had 4 players get drafted from our team last year. So it is a league that is high-level baseball players. They're all Division I athletes or we have a couple Division III All-Americans on our team this year. But it is very high-level baseball. It's kids that come from big programs, SEC country, ACC. They come play for us, and they all still have very real dreams of being drafted and playing in Major League Baseball. So it's not a just come and show up league. It is a development league for Major League Baseball. Our All-Star game has representatives from all 30 Major League Baseball teams at the All-Star game, as well as scouts that are constantly scouting the league. We We have programs with Synergy and TrackMan, which are two high-level scouting things that all the Major League Baseball teams subscribe to get data on all of our players. So that's very quick on us. I know most of you have seen it. This is just a quick little blurb about, obviously summer leagues where they learn how to be part of that. It may more of a minor league lifestyle where it's 44 games in 60 days. It's a quick sprint to the finish. It's a lot of baseball, but they get used to learning there's always a tomorrow and the next game's the next day. So it gets them used to that, riding the bus. And there's pictures on here of Trey Mancini, who was our first alumnus to win the World Series last year with the Houston Astros. So this talks about some of the Major League Baseball alumni that we have: Steve Lombardozzi, Tom Murphy, Jake Cronenworth, who was an all-star this past year, and then Trey Mancini. The team won back-to-back NECBL titles in 2017 and 2018, and lost in the semifinals in 2019. And since COVID, the league took the year off in 2020, has been back with 2021, strong season. 2022 wasn't our best year, but again, like I said, we did have several guys that were high profile and came and played for us as well. Our social media presence is growing, constantly growing. That's something I'm really proud of that we've done this past year. Is kind of boosted. Our Twitter followers, our Facebook followers, and our Instagram followers especially is up to 2,100 now. So it is about a little over 10,000 when you add them all together. So it is a strong reach and strong platform to not just showcase our team, but to showcase the city as well. Community engagement just talks about some of the things that we've done. We run clinics all season. We do one in Holyoke. We do one in Hadley. We do several appearances for our team, our players. We were just at the Holyoke Youth Baseball announcement. Actually, I think I may have the... Okay, never mind. Sorry. I thought it was an outdated version. But I did have some pictures in here of Paws, our mascot, at Holyoke Youth Baseball, our visit to them earlier this season as part of the parade. We did sponsor actually I want to say a float, but it was a group during the Holyoke St. Patrick's Day parade. So we are making a big commitment to kind of get ourselves out there in the community. I'm personally, my mom's from Springfield, but my aunts and stuff grew up in the Holyoke area. Some of my best memories are being at the St. Patrick's Day parade and all that kind of stuff. So very much Holyoke has been something that's always been a part of my life and something is exciting when I found out that the team was here and I was able to kind of come on board with it. But again, that's a big push for us, is to make sure that we are engaging in the community. I mean, you mentioned it, Counselor, very briefly at the start, was to talk about how can we work together and how can we make sure that we're a shining jewel for the city as well as vice versa, but we want to make sure that we're a good partner, and those are the kinds of the steps that we're taking forward this year, as well as plans to help with the Home Run Derby for the Little League, as well as other youth programs going on throughout the city. Print media coverage, as well as I will talk about, again, something happened in my slides here, but we are partnering with 94.7 WMAS this year, as well as Channel 22 News. As a package, we will be advertising. There will be a brand new commercial that's going to go up about the team that'll showcase the team, the city, as well as the field in Mackenzie itself. So some of the new kind of exciting things that we have coming on as far as a media plan goes. So this just talks about some of the... Yeah. So this is our new uniform, new look for the team this year. Brand new uniforms, brand new logo. So those are our new uniforms. That was a post that went up that we had professionally done. It's doing great numbers and obviously showcasing. Some we're new excited about Dinger, our new mascot. We ran a contest through the Gazette, the Hampshire Gazette, to name the new mascot. Dinger ended up being the winner. And if you don't know, Dinger is baseball slang for home run. So again, Dinger the Blue Sox is coming. We have all new uniforms. We'll be wearing the powder blues at home. The red will be our Sunday day game uniform,
Sure.
and then the navy blue on the road. So
Nice.
again, lots of uniform options. Our guys are going to look great this year, and again, that's just kind of one of the big things we're excited about this season is kind of the new look. Next is another video that I won't necessarily play for you all, but please, if you do get this, I'll make sure I email the link. It's a program called Live Sports Radio, and we will be the first one in our league to have it. But if you've ever gone to a big-time sporting event, they do it a lot at the U.S. Open tennis as well as U.S. Open golf, Major League Baseball stadiums. It's a personalized radio that you get when you can purchase it as part of our season ticket package this year as well. But it gives you live game broadcast with no delay, direct to your ear, so you can hear, learn more, connect about the players, where they're from. Again, we're the only ones in the league that are going to have this program this year, something we're really excited about, just to help create a better connection between our fans. We have a lot of fans who come night after night, and other than just hearing their name and where they're from every time they come up to bat, it gives the chance for our broadcaster to fill you in a little bit more about who the players are, how they're doing, how the season's going, that kind of thing. Create that better connection, and something we're really excited about. Once you have that radio, you can bring it back every game. If you happen to live within a certain or if you're one of those houses right around, you'll be able to pick it up on the radio, even if you're not in the stadium. But the company does come in, they get the FCC license that's organized just for the stadium. And it's going to something that I'm pretty excited about. I think it's going to be a really nice touch point for our fans, and especially our season ticket holders and people who come back time after time. Yep. So the next one that we're very excited about is we've added a new team room to Mackenzie for this year. So you can kind of see some of the pictures. We had a company called the Barnyard, which is based out of Ellington, Connecticut, come in, flatten the land. We had an old kind of storage bunker that we had there for years and years and years. Took that out. We are going to, you can see obviously this new building. It's going to be completely furnished. We're actually partnering with another Holyoke business. Conklin is going to help us furnish the building as well, which is great. It's going to be a spot where we're going to be air conditioned, so our starting pitcher can stay out of the heat in the summertime. It's going to have a nice lounge in there for the players, a television for the players. So gives them a spot to get out of the heat and gather. And it's a nice touch point for our team. Again, there's only 4 other teams in the league that have the ability to change after batting practice. And we've added that for our guys as well, which we're pretty excited about. We think our players will be very excited about it as well. Again, it is a big change to kind of the layout back there, but I think it's one that's long overdue and something that's going to be great and fits in with the rest of the buildings that we have. And again, that's one that we're really excited about with our players, and we've already started teasing that to our team, and they're pretty excited about it as well.
Cool.
Yep. All right. So now we'll get briefly into some of the challenges that we're facing, or some of the hurdles that we still want to kind of go through, and things that we'll eventually look to the city for help or assistance and stuff to just keep an eye out for as we go forward here. The playing surface at Mackenzie, the team does as good as they possibly can with how much play that field gets. It's used by colleges prior to us, then it's used by the high school prior to us. Then during the season, it's used by the Tri-County League as well. So again, there's some bare patches in the league or on the field, and that's something that I think we do need to address as we go forward. It is something where, like I mentioned, we have these kids coming from ACC or SEC, high-level programs that are used to playing on these million-dollar facilities, and again, that's not what we're asking for, but we do want to be able to compete for that level of kid as far as when we are recruiting them, and it's a tougher sell when they're worried about the hops they're going to get, or again, like I said, all these guys are worried about their draft status or their draft stock, and if the last thing that Major League Scouts see from them is a plummeting defensive rating, then they may not look forward to coming to us in the future. So something that just to keep on the radar, and something that I think, again, like I said, the team does as much as they possibly can, but I do think that there's an opportunity for us to look at as a city and the partnership with the Blue Sox as far as upgrading the infield turf. Lighting, light bulbs, I think we mentioned with the committee too, that this is something that is being addressed and something that we're excited to see. We did have several lights out at Mackenzie last year, which again, it was playable, but it is something that as they start to dim, the average fastball in our league is 92, 93 miles an hour. That's obviously much different than a high school fastball and requires a little bit more lighting, and the visibility obviously needs to be at a certain level to make sure that players can be seen and see the ball coming towards them. And obviously that's something that could have possibly created a potential security issue, or not security issue, potential safety issue, would it not be addressed. So I'm very glad to see that is happening. Again, asset security, our buildings were broken into last year and then vandalized in 2021. I know that's something that the city has tried to address. There's a new light pole that is run right now, but there's no lights hooked up to it yet that faces towards our building. So if anybody knows kind of what the plan was for that, that would be good to know. But again, with some of the money that the program and us have spent, me individually have spent to put in the new team room, we want to show off what's in that new team room. We will take some security measures on our own. We'll put in Ring because we do have Wi-Fi capabilities at the stadium, but something for the city just to keep an eye out to. Repairs needed for the grounds and the building. We've talked about the grounds, but there is some of the stuff around, I'm not sure exactly what it's called, where it's around the ingress and egress areas around the stadium. It's like a pea stone kind of thing, but it is starting to get very, very thin, so it does get very dusty. So it's tough if we have guests who come in with new shoes or white sneakers. When they walk out, they're not white sneakers anymore. So it could be something that we'll hear back from folks on that, hey, I need to let people know that, hey, just don't wear your nice shoes here. But something to keep an eye on. I like I said, it's something that we can look into. Local host families needed. We do have something where the league tries to get all of our host families within 15 minutes of the stadium. I have about 16 to 18 host families this year. Would anybody like to guess how many of those host families are local Holyoke families? 2. So that's something where, I mean, talking to the committee now, and that's something, like I said, we are looking to do a great job of promoting, and that's something where we need your help and we need the city's help to kind of talk about. This is something that it comes to a last minute push for all teams every year as the host families, especially post-COVID. It's a big ask, and we completely understand that. And but that's something, if we can get the city and the community behind the team, that's something that we really want to. Ideally, we'd love to have all of our kids stay in Holyoke and have that experience and be close to the field and really part of the community. So when we ask them to do community events within Holyoke, we don't have to ask them to come from someplace like Greenfield or Summers, where some of our players are staying now. So that's a 35, 40-minute drive for the event, then to go back home and then come back for their game at night. That's a big ask. So open to any suggestions, anything that you all can think of that we might be able to do in order to kind of boost those local host families, anything that we can possibly do to help and get the word out, we're completely open for as well. And then the last part is just updated seating. We did switch out some bleachers from the stadium last year, which were in disrepair that needed to come out. So we replaced them with some smaller bleachers this year, which I don't think should be looked at as kind of a permanent fix. Is more of it's a lipstick on what we've got going and something that's temporary, but it's not nearly kind of what we had. Again, they were older and falling apart, so totally needed to go. But there was a lot more seating previously behind the home plate where people really like to sit, whereas this year we've replaced it with some of those lower level, like 4 levels of metal bleachers this year. Again, we have the hill, which is great. People love sitting on that, but I do think it's something that needs to, as we look forward, kind of be addressed going forward. And then just to talk briefly about some of the competition that we're coming up for in leagues when we talk about the stadiums and the state of Mackenzie. Again, just to view, Norwich plays in a previously was a AA stadium before this last year. Muzzy Field in Bristol, the city just spent over $1 million on renovating it and building it up again. Newport, Rhode Island, I love to put there because it's right on the harbor, and it's something that obviously we're competing for the same kids as them, but it's an interesting area. And then Sanford, Maine, which I think, again, it's a small community up in Maine, but they spent quite a bit on their stadium in the early 2000s and built a purpose-built stadium for their team. The community gets really behind it. They have several, their whole stadium concourse where we pay for concessions workers. Everything's volunteer there. They've really done a great job of community organizing, and they have a purpose-built 950-person stadium just for their team. So again, this kind of sets us in the spot where I think we're making progress, but when we're up against these types of facilities and these types of communities that are really behind the team, I think we've got some work to do, obviously, on our end, and then through the city as well to kind of make up for what we have. I think Mackenzie gets, we get a great crowd and people love coming to the stadium. We just want to make sure that we're constantly upgrading the facility as well as the experience for our folks. And that's something that we're trying to do and show our level best on our end too, and something that, like I said, we'd ask for the city as well. And then I think that's really it. Thank you, Pack the Mac. I think this is something where I wanted to show you guys kind of when we're in full swing. Obviously, we've got some great crowds. We really do pack it in. People do love our team. It's just a matter of getting out to the community, and something we need to do better, and something that we'd ask for the city to keep upgrading the experience, and something that we've really bought into, and something that we are really pushing for, to constantly upgrade that experience for our players, our community, as well as everyone kind of involved. I think it's something that we're really close, and we've got a spot that is really engaged and can be really engaged and was in the past, and now it's on us, and hopefully with the help of the city to kind of start building it back to where it was. And I think that's really it. The rest is just our contact information, and I appreciate your time. And now open it up if you all have any questions, anything I can talk to. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was a great presentation and something that we really appreciate you taking the time to do. I'm going to look to my fellow committee members. Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, thanks a lot for, thanks everybody for coming here tonight. And I know it's a short agenda, but we certainly want to express our appreciation to Matt and for coming. I think that Tyler might have been online, or if he was, and then Tommy Reynolds, of course, as well. And I'm sure Tommy and others can probably talk to some of the technical things that we discussed. So we knew about the lights for the field. The lights for the parking lots should be something as well. I don't think we touched on that in this presentation, but the lights in the parking lots can be certainly could use improvement. To have a well lit lot would go a long way. So safety is and it's so disappointing to hear but crime like that. Does it happen in other stadiums? My guess is it does, but I hate like heck to have it happen here. It's depressing, and so those are kind of some of the negative things. I wish I had answers for them, but I'm positive that you and Tommy have discussed it. You and the mayor you certainly want to. The mayor watches most, if not all, of our meetings. You certainly want to reach out to the mayor, and Tom will do so on your behalf. So the stadium field itself, I wasn't aware of because we just did a major rehab at Mackenzie Stadium just a few years ago. So I thought the playing surface was top notch, but I see by your assessment that's probably not the case. So we want to, we certainly want to look at that and be aware of it. Just for my, if you're living nearby, you said there's a radio station that people could tune into on that?
No, so actually it'll be our own exclusive radio bandwidth. So you'd have to have one of our radios in order to listen to it.
Oh, great. Okay, that's really exciting. So I'm very familiar with that. I haven't gone to so many events over the years with those little earpieces, and that's
Yeah,
gonna be a
it would
nice
be
touch. And
It's a great opportunity for all of our interns too. Like our broadcasting interns is senior at UMass, and obviously he wants to be heard by as many people and get as much feedback as he possibly can. So it's a really neat opportunity for him too to be heard by people in the stands, and people listen to with it no delay too. Even because if you watch on our broadcasts, you will get you could pull it up on your phone in the stadium, but it's going to be about 35-40 second delay. Which isn't great if you're trying to listen to something that you're watching. And I didn't mention too, we will actually be piloting a program this year for ESPN Plus that the league is working on. So Mackenzie will be featured on ESPN Plus, their platforms. We're pretty excited about it. We're one of 3 teams in the league that is going to be featured. It's us, Newport, and Keene. Through that, we have upgraded our broadcast. We've acquired 3 new cameras, as well as new equipment, a new computer to run that broadcast to be able to switch through. But ESPN's been great. They're going to give us their proprietary stuff to use temporarily so that the league can figure it out. But I think it's a great partnership. All of our games are broadcast on the web, but this is something that will really take it up a level for us, which is
and Matt, thank you for your investment, because if somebody like you doesn't step up, then and I know your predecessor was here for a number of years, saw the championships, and he was a real gentleman. He did a lot of things for the team and for the city. So
absolutely, yep.
So and as a one person, 2-ticket season ticket holder myself, I really enjoy. I probably went to 3/4 of the games last year. But I have a few buddies that, if they miss one game, I'd be shocked. They just walk and they go to all the games, and it's just wonderful entertainment. And all of us, we love getting into baseball, and we love razzing the umpires, and we love talking to the ball players, and we know several of the coaches, and then have a hot dog, something else to drink and all that. Just enjoy the evening. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm grateful for the host families. I'm grateful for the sponsors that come along. And I know that those funds are going to be used wisely. If from our perspective, I know supporting the stadium is really, really important, because it's used by so many entities, whether it's youth baseball or tri-county or high school. It's really a magical stadium to play in, especially if you're a young guy from this area. It's always been probably the preeminent field in Western Mass, and we want to make sure it stays at that level and even improves going forward. Maybe we can't compete with the Sanford Mains and Newport. We don't necessarily have a bay, but we do have a canal. So we're not going to dig a new canal near you anytime soon. But the fact is that we do have amenities here that can't be replicated elsewhere, and so with that, I know the counselors are probably going to have questions or updates, and maybe Tom does too. But thanks so much for a great presentation, and I look forward to seeing you during the season.
No, thank you. And like I said, and our goal is to be the most fun you can have on a Holyoke summer night, and I think we're doing a good job of getting that there in the presentation. And not to say, I mean, Mackenzie is an excellent baseball facility. It's the best one in Western Mass. That's why we're here. But there are some steps that we can take, I think, to continue furthering that along. And I think it's a great showpiece for the city and for us, and it's something that, like you said, I think it's great. Players love coming there, and they should love coming there. And I think that's great. But we're ready to step up, and I think we've been doing that, and we're ready, hopefully. All we ask is that you all maybe come to some games and help support us. And anytime we're going, maybe share that post of the game. We have a lot of Tyler, who was on the call, has done a great job of creating sponsorships and giveaways, and we do have a full promotional schedule. June is already full of promotions and giveaways that we'll be putting out the promotional schedule. So so it's stuff that we take it very seriously. We look at this as, again, it's summer collegiate baseball, but all these guys want to be Major League Baseball players, and we want to run like a Major League organization as well.
Thank you. I have questions, but I'm just, okay, go ahead.
I just have one, but I'll
Okay.
let the guys go first.
Councilor McGivern,
I'm not sure how to take that, Councilor Reagan.
age before beauty.
Thank you, Chair Murphy Ramboletti. Matt, welcome. I know it's not your inaugural season, but it kind of seems like it for us, and it's a pleasure to have you here. The Blue Sox are very important to the city of Holyoke. It is such a short season, as we were talking, but it's an incredibly important season to not just the fans that Councilor Bartley was talking about, but a number of people who understand the importance of this level of play, but this level of partnership within the community itself. And you seem to have everything it takes to run a great organization. I did want to give you the update. You may or may not know, I know Tommy's on Zoom, but the Finance Committee last week did approve $30,000 for the upgrade of the lightings. Not just for the Blue Sox, but that's a big part of it, but for the Tri-County and and especially our high school team, which I think is very important, that we keep the Mackenzie Field up to par as best we can. I understand, things do get old and they do need repair, and maintenance is important, but I do think the stadium seating in Mackenzie and the stadium seating up above you are unique, to a lot of teams. And it's something that we're very proud of, because the founding fathers of Holyoke, visioned the importance of sports within the city, and the stadium seating. I don't think anyone could build that, what we have on that side, on your first base side. And it's we do need to keep that up to date, because it's important to keep it like that. The security, we'll do whatever we can. I'm sure we'll talk to the police department and talk to some, maybe to Parks and Rec and DPW about whether we need some cameras, and whether we need some way of knowing, or at least being able to pinpoint when there are vulnerable times for security, because that field should be pretty locked up when it's not in use. And the diamond itself, and I know Clarkie Lambert is retired, Councilor Bartley, but Clarkie Lambert, always had that in pristine shape, whether it was the field, the mound, or the base path itself. On a personal note, I want to thank you. I'm involved with the Holyoke Merry-Go-Round here in Holyoke, and the Holyoke Merry-Go-Round Children's Museum, which is in Heritage Park, has a commitment from your organization where I didn't know, but Dinger is going to be with us, from what I'm told, on one of our special days.
Oh, great. Yeah, it'll probably be paused. Dinger's still on the slow boat out, but but Paws, our other mascot, will be there.
Which I'm sorry. I was listening, but I may have got confused.
No, Dinger he's our new mascot, but he is coming. But until then, we still have Paws,
that's fine with us too, because the last time we did it might have been pre-COVID. I know a few of the players showed up, and they were wonderful.
Great.
We started some PG games with the younger kids in the park, and of course the merry-go-round is operating, the Children's Museum is going, and it's just it's a nice day of that community partnership of showing everything we have, in that type of a format. But thank you, and
absolutely.
I think a lot of people don't realize it's your requests aren't just as a team that uses Mackenzie Field. You rent Mackenzie Field.
Correct.
I think this year's contract is close to $13,000, or does that ring a bell? Or
yeah. So I think
we certainly want to honor that contract. We want to honor, not just because of your renting the field, but we want to honor what you do on the field, because it brings joy to a lot of people who love the game and understand the importance of summer. And it's a lot cheaper to go to a Blue Sox game than to go to even some of the minor leagues are getting pretty expensive.
Absolutely, yeah. Our beer's a lot cheaper too.
The last two times I saw the Red Sox play, it was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And, to travel to Baltimore to say you can get a cheaper ticket for the Red Sox is I'll stop there, because the organization may not want me saying that. But we welcome the Blue Sox. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Reagan?
Thank you. And thanks for coming down. I know a lot more now than I did before.
Great.
And I guess I was just sort of focusing on the needs. And I was wondering how big of a project, when you talk about resurfacing and rolling, needed relative to the field. I just don't understand what that means, or like how difficult it is, or.
Yep. So just for frame of reference too, so the Cape Cod League gives has each one of their organizations put $10,000 towards the resurfacing of the fields every year. There's one company that does it. They get a good deal because the same company does all 8 stadiums because they're all within that certain radius.
Oh, okay.
So ours would be a little bit more expensive. Again, that would be kind of a yearly resurfacing.
Oh, okay.
But more so, it would be kind of in that range to kind of get us started. And again, like you said, it's in a good spot. It's just not at a spot that's that the caliber of our players kind of expect and deserve. And it's certainly in a place where it's playable, it's passable for the league, but we are in kind of the bottom half of the league as far as playing surfaces go. So it's not an immediate need or ask. It is something that I know with the rolling of the field, we talk about that as a machine that we can rent for a couple $100 a day, and it goes on there. I know we were talking to some of the team that works there at DPW. They've got a plan. They're going to have a plan in place already to kind of whip it into shape for this season, and it's purely and it's not necessarily extra investment. It's stuff that's already been planned, and it's stuff that will absolutely make a difference. Will it get us to the level where I think we need to be at? I don't think it will yet, but it certainly steps in the right direction.
So they can do some of what.
Correct.
is
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. But then maybe we have to go outside to get.
Yeah, I mean, I would think, eventually, I mean, you're going to need a new surface we're in a different spot too, right? Because the field gets so much play and so much
Right.
use. I would say if we could stop play on the field for 2 weeks before we get it and just do field maintenance, we could get it easily to that spot. It's just not feasible to have that happen with how much use it gets. So that's why I would recommend something like the resurfacing, where they come in the week before our season or 2 weeks before our season, switch it up, and then or not switch it up, but do what needs to get done, which would get us to kind of that level every year.
So that would be a one-time thing before the season. And
Correct.
So how much would something like that cost?
And so without me being an expert
Well, I
and
mean,
looking
just-
at it,
I mean, just
I would probably
rough.
say 10 to 15,000
Okay.
would be that number to kind of do what would need to be to get us to the kind of that level.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I am too. And we started to look at and price out some of that stuff, and,
okay.
and be able to look at that as far as how we could be a partner on that as well. But certainly, I think it's something that would start upping us to that next level.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I think I have a pretty good picture. Thanks.
Thank you. My only question, I would just love to hear more about local host families and what that actually entails, so that we as counselors can help get the word out about these opportunities for folks that may not realize what that includes.
Absolutely, and if I can bring up, I actually have a slide that talks about. Let's see if I can share it real quick. All right, that should have come up. All right, so host families, again, super important. It's the lifeblood of our organization. It's something that's absolutely, the organization cannot run without it. The league mandates it. They do not want kids living in dorms or in hotels, that kind of thing. They want that to be part of the league experience. So the kids really become part of the community that they come to spend the summer with. And I think it's really neat too, as far as the league goes, all the way up from Maine down to Rhode Island to Western Connecticut. I think it's cool because they get a feel for all of these New England communities. And like you said, everywhere is different, right? Like Newport or like us, we're in a unique spot, right? We're different. So we have the TV market that none of the other teams have. We have local news, which none of the other teams really have. We have a big community, which none of the other teams have. We're by far the largest population-wise community that the league plays in, which is great for us. So to use that as an asset. So when we say something like the largest community, but only 2 host families, that's where kind of that divide is and what we want to do to connect. So asks for host families is not, you have to have, all we ask is a bed, and a room, preferably a private room, but it doesn't necessarily, sometimes our families will have players that share a room, so it'll be 2 twin beds in a room, that kind of thing, but a room that they can call their own as a player. And then just something in the fridge for breakfast. Other than that, they get lunch kind of before they go, and they get dinner every night after their games or practices. So those are really the only asks, and I get that opening up your home and then obviously providing food, those are 2 pretty big asks. So that's really what we ask for families, but as to offset that, again, I know some programs, the league will not allow us to pay host families, so we try to offset that with each member of the family will get a free season pass. That includes obviously tickets to all the games, but they also, host families eat for free at our games. So if they want a hot dog during the game, they want a soda, they want some chips, some cotton candy, the kids will get obviously snow cones. That is all on us, on the organization, something we provide for the host families during the games. 40% discount on new gear and merchandise. Obviously, I showed we have all new gear this year, so that's something that is going to come into play for a lot of the families. They get access to our youth clinics, so if they have kids in Little League or anything like that, kids can come free to our clinics, which are 4 days long, so it's great value there. I think we charge $125 for the week, so again, that's added value there. Host family end of year tent nights. We do catered night where we welcome our host families, kind of like a senior night, what they do for other like college programs, where the host family comes out, they're recognized, we take pictures. We have a hospitality tent that we reserve for our host families for that night, and we feed them. This year we're offering up a Red Sox game, the whole team, as well as, so we'll have a bus for the team and a bus for our host families and families for the Red Sox game on June 12th. We're going to do a pre-kickoff event on June 6th. And then we're going to do a fan bus and away game trip night. So we'll pick one of the stadiums where we'll get our bus company to take a whole fan bus up there. That might be something neat to open it up to the whole community as well. So something to think about. And then, so that's kind of what we build in to kind of offset that cost and kind of give some value, as well as our host families really do become part of our family. There's something that's, again, like I said, we could not run without them, and they're the most important part, more important than our players. Our players wouldn't like to hear that, but the host families really are. They're great, and if we can get more Holyoke families involved and as part of that, I think it's something that would build a bridge. And obviously, I think that's something, obviously, it helps attendance, it helps connections with the city, it helps us with events, because then, like I said, we go to the carousel, we see a family, we know, hey, that's a Holyoke family. They bring their friends over, they come meet our players, and I think that's something where we got to bring that connection back together, and we're all in on our side to do whatever we can in order to make that happen.
Thank you. That's really helpful.
And Matt, you said the host family, at the game gets 1 cup of beer?
Absolutely.
Good thinking, Councilor. I see Councilor Maldonado Velez has his hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for coming. Thank you, Matt, for coming down and give the presentation. The other councilors asked all the questions that I had. I just had one thing as part of the Tourism Advisory Committee. One of the things that we're working on right now is the exploreholyoke.com website, and we'd like to making it more usable, or having more people use it. So I just wanted to sort of give that suggestion to, if you wanted to have another platform to advertise the games, to add the games to the exploreholyoke.com website. And again, thank you so much. Like, I did learn a lot tonight about the Blue Sox and great engagement online on Instagram and Facebook and everything. So thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining in and tuning in. I think that's a great asset and something we'd absolutely love to be a part of. And I know Tyler is actively working with both the mayor's office and Tom's office to talk about the Holyoke 150 committee as well. We're going to have a game that's Holyoke specific. We're looking at some throwback nights too for the, I don't know if anybody here remembers the Holyoke Millers, but we're working on a throwback Holyoke Millers uniform. And actually the light blue, sorry, I apologize, it's not a direct answer to your question, but it set me off on this tangent to think about it. But actually the light blue in our uniforms is actually a direct ripoff of the Holyoke Millers light blue. So again, always thought intention to look at the city as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay, Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, just I'll just end this. So so I learned a lot tonight. So this is really helpful for all of us. Because are these packets you'll have Tyler ship them to Jeff and he can get them to all the city councilors?
Sure, of course, and I have it digitally as well, so I can send it via an email form, and everybody can have access to it.
And you met Jeff earlier, and so he'll happily disseminate them all to.
Absolutely, yeah. I did email it to him earlier too, so he'll have access to it. But we can certainly package it.
And then one thing I just didn't, because I certainly want to hear something about the youth clinics, but not now, but maybe down the road. I certainly want to hear that. Just could you? Where are the players this year? Where are they? We met so many players last year over in the last season. There's such fine young men, and their parents come to a lot of games. We meet them post game at places, and they're really classy individuals. I have to say, you're proud just to know them. Never mind root for them. So where are they? Where are they coming from? I know you're looking you're collecting good players now, so where are they coming from, more or less?
Yeah, so we like to say when we put our team together, it's kind of like any CBL Moneyball. So our baseball team has my baseball director and organization have kind of a philosophy that they look at, where they'll look at them on paper, then start looking at. But they really do come from all over the country. So this year we have kids from Texas Christian University, which is a top 10 program in the country. We have kids from the University of Washington. We have HBCU representation within our team this year. We have 4 kids coming from Grambling, which we're very excited about. We have local kids. We have a couple kids from Western New England. Actually, the kids you saw featured in the video are Western New England players as well. Where else do we have this year?
Well, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but that's nevertheless very, very helpful. So there's quite a diverse group.
Right, and they come. So. I mean, like I said, from the West Coast. We have a lot of kids from the South this year. We have Western Carolina. We have Quinnipiac. We have local kids. We have a kid from Westfield. We have actually one of Holyoke's own playing for us this year, who's at Southern Connecticut. If anybody remembers the name Tyshawn Diaz, he'll be pitching for us this year.
Oh, that's exciting.
As well as Fairfield, Western Carolina, Yale. So represented with the Ivy League, Seton Hall, Columbia, Fordham. So all over the place. So it is a well-traveled league, that's for sure.
I know one of my buddies is I know he's listening to this, and first of all, I can't stand UConn. I never root for UConn or anything. However, they won the men's title. Don't forget, and then Quinnipiac won the Frozen Four, and there's a team from Connecticut. I forgot if it's Eastern Connecticut or Southern Connecticut, but I think they won their division. I think the record was some bizarre, like 41-3. It was really incredible last
Eastern
year.
Connecticut.
Eastern Connecticut baseball.
They won the Division III title last year.
Well, to have a record like that in anything, but in baseball, I mean, they had 2 or 3 losses for the whole season. So to hear there's Connecticut kids coming here to play, I think that's really exciting too.
Absolutely.
So thank you to everybody for taking up the order, and so thanks a lot.
I just wanted to, since he's on the call, our Parks and Rec director, Tom, is on the call, and I just wanted to see if you wanted to add anything, or, since you're here, thank you for being here.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Thanks, Matt, for presenting. Just want to say a couple things with so far my interaction with Matt and his team he's got there. It's been, I came in June, so I was pretty much halfway through his season when they came in last year. So I caught up with him, towards the end of the season, and afterwards we met. And one of his first things he said was, he really wanted to become more involved with the community and what he could do to kind of place his the brand in there and give back to the community that, we're trying to work for to get back into Mackenzie, I grew up in Mackenzie. My dad just passed away a couple months ago. He was a coach, so I was there since a bat boy, since 4 or 5 years old. So to see, this caliber of ball play happen at Mackenzie's so exciting. The requests that the Blue Sox and Matt and I brought up are all valid. There's things that have gone, maybe just push to a season, push to another season, push to another season. As it gets busy as it does in our office, things kind of get pushed around and then left undone. So, we're trying to catch up on past times here with the lighting and, all the other requests and stuff. Good thing is about Mackenzie Stadium is it's one of the best in the area. It's really a great surface. It's a great, field for what we have here. But the bad thing about that is it's one of the better ones, so everyone wants to play in the field. So we do have Elms College. Obviously we got our high schoolers, their home stadium as well, and then we have the Blue Sox coming in. So we're trying to figure out navigate that way of how we can kind of eliminate the most, trudging onto that infield and try to make that surface as best we can. We've been talking to Matt, and so John and Tim, the other crew that we have for DBW, and trying to figure out, what we can do to make that surface as best we possibly can. So our brains are on it on that. And obviously safety, security, our biggest, foremost, trains us out there. So, what we need to do, if it's cameras and stuff like that, we'll get that going. We don't want anything broken in, especially with an investment of what he's shelled into it to make, the baseball experience at Mackenzie more, more exciting and bringing the level of play up. It all comes, tenfold. It loops it loops each other in, with better play ball. You get more fans in the seats. It's a better experience. Then you get the giveaways and all the work they're doing after. So we're excited that they're there. Matt's got some really good ideas. He's been doing some really good stuff since the last season to now. We're excited to kind of get some way, and we're looking to get some little TLC into that stadium so we can kind of make that experience a little bit better for everybody. Again, Matt, thank you for doing your presentation and stuff like that. And Tyler, you guys have been great to deal with, and we're looking forward to that next season.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Really appreciate all your help and you hopping on this too.
And then
Absolutely.
Councilor McGivern.
Now, you couldn't find a finer gentleman, young man than Tom Reynolds to work with, and I look forward to the future with Tom being at the helm. You brought up the Holyoke Millers, and I'm always accused of telling stories here, but I got to tell you 2 stories of the Holyoke Millers. One's just a feel-good story. Is they had a player, Mike Dempsey. Mike came out of North Carolina, actually played basketball besides baseball, and was on the championship team when North Carolina State won with Valvano, and I forget what year, but it was years back. He wasn't a starter or even a player. He was the 10th guy you said on an 11th-man team, but he was a great pitcher for the Millers. But picture what the city of Holyoke does for sports. We believe high school, because we're a community, municipality, sports always comes first, but it's important to bring it beyond our high school level. The Millers had to put up with a cinder track that ran through center field and left field. And we finally were convinced that we had to remove that track, and the high school had no place to do their track and field. They used Holyoke Community College for years until we rebuilt it up above, where you see a track that is incredibly unique at the high school level, because we have a soccer field, a collegiate soccer field, in the middle of that track up above. That's a European design track that runs around what I call Roberts Field. So the city understands, and we're committed, I think, especially to high school sports, but bring it up to the next level is always important, because this community has always been sports minded. I think they understand not just recreational, but they understand our kids play, our youth play, our young adults play, and we keep it alive. We do the best we can. But again, it's going to be a great partnership, and all I can say is go Blue Sox.
That's right. Go Blue Sox, baby.
And Matt, are you going to have an announcement about?
Oh, yeah. So just to mention, too, we were talking about the host families. I don't know why it escaped my mind, but we actually, at Pick's Pub in Holyoke tomorrow, actually, we're having host family information night. So
great.
something, if anybody does know, we can certainly, I'll send the flyer for that following this meeting, too.
Yeah, please do.
To Jeffrey, and that is at 6:30 tomorrow at Pick's. So anybody who's interested or potentially interested in being a host family, again, you'll have to sit through probably another presentation from me, but as long as you manage that, it will be great. We're going to have some food and have a great time, and just to mention that as well for potential host families.
Thank you. Great.
If Pick is providing the pizza, there'll be a lot of Hoyokers there.
That's right.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to be here. What day does your season start?
Thank you all. We start June 7th.
Awesome.
Fast
Awesome.
and furious. We're home that whole weekend. So
Great.
I'll make a motion we're complied with.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll make a
Nice to
motion
meet
to
you.
adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much, Matt. We appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Tyler.